So one of the coolest mods I think out there is running a file on the blade layer. I didn't invent this. I saw a picture of it and did the same thing. It's really cool, in my opinion. A 2-layer, you've got plus scales and a file and, you know, a little small pen blade. Fun, right? So what you're doing basically, you know, and sometimes this doesn't click all the way in, but for really what it is, it's pretty consistent and it doesn't bother me at all. So what you got going on there is you've got the little spacer, which you usually have, which is this little guy. That's usually on top of your small blade. And then you've got basically 2 liners in there, which you'd think are like these guys. That's basically what you want. But unfortunately, guess what? This liner actually is not going to fit because this liner is meant to go this way. So what I'm going to do is grind these down like I did before, and I'm going to try to basically use an electrician's blade, because that would be my dream, would be to have this as an electrician's blade with the new file. But the problem is this blade is thin, very thin, versus the electrician's blade. I don't know if you can see it or not, but see, it almost goes up to the top of the, I think it pretty much does go up to the top of the blade spring. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's going to be a problem, right? Because this is usually thin and the file is pretty thick too. So take the smaller file, which is the old one, which is thinner, and then use it with the bigger blade. So I'm going to put that, I'm going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work. You'll never see this video if it doesn't, but if it does, well, you'll know how I did it. I'm going to throw that spacer piece there to lift the file up. I tried this before, and what had happened, it was bent. So I tried to straighten it as best I could. So I'm going to run this on this side, keep this with nothing underneath it. This liner's flat. And then I'm going to go grind down a couple of these guys and just leave it. I'm not going to run a spacer there because I don't think there's enough room. Otherwise, it's just not going to come together right. So grind this down, put 2 of them there. So essentially going to have this on top, and then probably put like a pair of scissors on top. That's like, and then get some plus scales. And I think it'd be a sweet little knife. I don't know if it's going to work. I tell you, the electrician's blade is frustrating to work with because on a 93 millimeter, you can put this on either side because the 93s only have a pin basically in the middle. But on the 91s, you've got the pin here. So you can't run this blade on this side because what's going to happen is going to hit right there. And the other thing you can't do, like they do on the 93s, is they'll run a can opener, or pardon me, cap lifter. I guess you put the can opener too on this side, and it'll clear it. But the problem is you can't use this blade, as far as I know, on any other spring except the blade spring. And guess what? It's got to go on this side. So this is the only free side, and well, you can't run a can opener here because it's going to hit the spring. See, you know, you can get it on, but the thing's going to be sticking up. It's going to be useless. So that's a little bit the challenge to work with this blade. When I first got these, I was like, oh, these are going to be great. And the reality is kind of limited in what you can do with them, at least in my abilities. So that's all I got. Hopefully it works. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. But I do really like, I do like the new files. I think probably better just because they're stronger. But this old file, they are cool and they are thin. And actually, if you're working with, if you actually want to just file a little bit of something, this works a lot better because these new files are pretty aggressive. But one thing you can do with these is like you can use this in like a Phillips versus this guy. You can too, but what will end up happening, I've talked about this before, it's like chrome plated, so this will start to chip off. You'll end up messing it up, but anyway. So we'll see. Wish me luck. Again, if this doesn't work, you're never going to see this video anyway. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, if you get to see it.